Hi, my name's Harry Reardon. You're watching 20 Questions with. Before you do anything, make sure you hit the bell, like, subscribe. Thank you so much. Lawrence, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Lawrence, and I am a 19-year-old male living in Austria. I have been diagnosed with the antisocial deviant type of psychopathy.
And can you break that down for us?
So psychopathy is essentially the inability to have feelings for others, but when you get down to it, it also inhibits a lot of social functions that the antisocial disorder does also inhibit. For example, I don't know social norms. I have no feeling for fashion, but those are just some side effects of it.
The fashion, does that affect you in any way? Like, do you?
Yes, it sort of does, because I can't really figure out if I'm dressing well or if I'm not dressing well. When I look in the mirror, I can't really say, yes, this fits with that. The brown hat fits with the brown shoes or something. I also can't really tell if I'm looking formal or not. I read, for example, that pink shows confidence, so I hope I'm like exuding a lot of confidence right now.
You are. And do you have? Do you counter that by having people around you that sort of can help you in a way to say no, this is working or this isn't working?
I don't really, because myself, I don't really care about fashion. Like, whatever I importantly is that I don't just look disgusting. So it doesn't really matter what I put on.
That's fair. And I suppose let's go back a little bit. Can you give us a little bit about your background and what your early years were like?
So my early years were pretty fine until I was 13. Then a little tragedy happened in my family. My mom died at when I was 16. That was 3 years ago now, and it kind of left an impression, but not in the way you would think it did, because it stood out to me as an event, but because I'm a psychopath, because of my psychopathy, I didn't see it as that important.
Your mum's death, you mean?
Yes.
Sorry to hear that. So when she passed, there was no sadness, no.
No, not really. It is kind of like, just okay, this is a thing that happened. I guess it sucks, but I can't really feel anything about it. It's just, I think of it, and I know it is supposed to be sad. I know it is supposed to be something that is not supposed to happen, but I can't really feel anything about it.
Did you have any psychopathy beforehand, or do you think this was a developing technique to handle the emotional trauma of losing your mum?
I don't think this was a developing technique, because I've been pretty weird since I was a child. Because I would never have any good reason for doing anything, which is also part of psychopathy, part of the problem. When you just can't come up with any reason for why you do certain things.
Well, like what?
Like, for example, when I like something, I wouldn't be able to tell you why. It's just probably because I've seen someone else like it, or someone else get told that it is fun or that it is cool. So I automatically associate it with being cool or being fun.
So it's not like, so if you eat something, it's not something like, oh no, this tastes good, or I like. It's not like a personal thing for
Hmm.
yourself. It's because it feels normal because other people are enjoying this particular thing.
Yes. Um, my father is a chef, so that was pretty disappointing for him. Um, I have it's you'd have to give me something to eat that was really disgusting for me to say, okay, I will not eat that. I won't like that.
Was there anything in your childhood or early years that you think could have contributed to developing psychopathy?
I would say the death of my mom, but I can't think of anything else.
Were there any early signs?
Early signs would be when I was 5. I can recall an incident where I like to say it was accidentally, but it was just me really being enraged with some girl. She climbed onto a sandhill that I had built and tried to sort of ruin it for me, and I kind of launched a twig at her, a quite a big twig, to be honest, and it split her head. It almost split her head open.
By a big twig, you mean like a log?
Yeah, like a sort of log shaped of thing.
And what happened after that?
After that, I got sent home and punished accordingly with staying indoors
With
for like several weeks.
a reduced capacity for certain emotions, is being punished
Mhm.
really effective for you?
It isn't really, because I can't comprehend the feeling of owning up to something. It's like, okay, I did it, but so what?
Would there have been an effective punishment that you could have been given?
Well, I got asked this several times already. What I always say is kind of like, you can treat me like a dog of Pavlov, like just condition me not to do certain things.
Yeah. When did you first realize that you had a reduced capacity for empathy?
I didn't realize it for a very long time because I wasn't aware that I was not normal. I just thought that because I was weird as a kid, but I just chalked it up to me being normal weird. And in school, I was never really bullied or anything. I was never really an outcast. I was sort of the guy who gets along with basically everyone. But I noticed it after, not even after my mom died. I kind of noticed it back then that I should be feeling something, and I found that kind of strange. So I first started to look into it, but I didn't really think much about it. But then I started asking me even more questions, because my family would talk about certain things that I just wouldn't understand. For example, patriotism. um, my father is a very proud Italian, and he was talking sort of about being patriotic, and I just couldn't understand what the hell he was saying. Like, I couldn't comprehend what patriotic mean. I also couldn't comprehend what moral means, what um, what justice really means. So I always just had this big question mark in my head.
And what caused you to seek diagnosis?
My father, I had 4 failed psychologists before I went to a psychiatrist, which all left me kind of worse for wear, because I started hating them. I started committing to hating them because they were just annoying. I felt kind of like they were trying to expose me, which in hindsight I realized was kind of the thing they wanted to do, but it wasn't as negative as I thought.
Yeah.
So I kind of regret the view now.
And how does the psychopathy, how does that affect your everyday life?
Um, I as the first thing I would say is, what everybody notices about me, I look kind of bored all the time, which is actually a thing that psychopathy does to you. If you're not doing something that you want to do, or that you're forced to do, or that gives you some thrill or something. You're just bored.
What gives you a thrill?
For example, winning something or genuinely playing something with strategy in it. I have played card games and board games for a while, and I always kind of liked it because it always gave me a thrill. I'm always saying that I am the best loser possible because I never complain about losing. I always have fun. I always have sort of fun when I play because I get the thrill no matter if I win or lose.
So what are your top games? What, and is this something that you regularly do just to, you know, give yourself a buzz?
I don't really play any of them regularly. I have played Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering, which I both really like, but as I said, I don't really play them regularly, sort of irregularly, depending on what any of my friends say. Like depending on what my friends find cool at the moment. I currently have two friends that play Magic the Gathering, so I'm sort of playing that more often. I had in the past friends that would play Yu-Gi-Oh, so I played that more often, but it's kind of changing. It's kind
And
of changing right now.
your friends, how do they feel about the emotions that you do or don't feel? Like, do they understand? Obviously, they know. Do they understand how that affects you?
No, it's very difficult explaining it to other people. Because it's like because when people talk to me about like feelings, it's sort of like people talking to a blind man about color. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's a really great way of putting it. How does it affect your interpersonal relationship? So, like, I don't know, have you like romantic relationships as well, that sort of thing?
I had a romantic relationship once, exactly once, for like 2 years. But I got dumped, sadly.
Did you
But
feel sad about it?
not really. I understood why she dumped me because I'm kind of a difficult person to deal with or to talk to. I will lose interest in whatever a person is talking if she isn't specifically talking about something I care about or something that is generally interesting for me.
Yeah, I understand that actually. um how does it affect your professional life? What about work and school?
I actually failed 2 classes in school because I was really lacking motivation, which is another thing that psychopathy does to you. You aren't really motivated to do certain things once you stop appreciating or liking them. Because I got drilled in the head with the idea, like not figuratively, I got drilled in the head with the idea that I needed to get a job after school. So in my mind that just meant, okay, I am working just to work more in the future but get paid for it. And in my head that didn't really sound like anything I wanted to.
Yeah.
So I kind of lost investment in school.
Do you have an idea on what you want to do with your future?
I honestly do not. I'm basically doing whatever floats my boat. So
Love that. Yeah. Just, I mean, that makes sense. That's good. You know. Um, some people with psychopathy still have quite a bit of empathy for certain people. Is this still the case for you?
no, it's just not there. Like empathy is another thing I don't really quite understand because I don't have it. It's sort of like the feeling of self-worth. When I say I don't have a feeling of self-worth, I don't mean like I'm low or I'm depressed. I mean I literally don't have it. I can't really place worth on other human beings, so I don't really have empathy as well. Like the best analogy I can bring for this is like if Hitler gave me a cookie, then I would like him, and if Jesus ran into me, I would hate him.
Yeah. Even though you know, clearly you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
even though I know what they did.
Does this extend to like animals as well? Like everyone loves dogs. You know, does that the empathy? That sounds sorry, but like, does that
Mhm.
carry on over? So like, there's just nothing there.
It kind of does. I mean, I haven't had overly negative experiences with animals. I had overwhelmingly positive ones, but I still feel kind of icky about seeing dogs and petting dogs. I don't really like to pet anything. I just kind of like if they don't come at me, I won't do anything. If they come at me, I can't do anything anyway, so it's useless. My resistance is futile anyway. But um I don't really have empathy for pets either.
Are there any times you can recall when you actually have experienced a great deal of guilt or empathy?
Um Empathy, no. I can I am I'm so, this may sound extremely stupid and extremely frustrating, but I am good at faking empathy. Like I think I am good at least,
That doesn't sound
which is
stupid. No.
mhm.
Like,
I just really don't want to sound like an arsehole.
no, not at all. What made you feel like you had to learn how to fake that?
Because I started to kind of logically connect the dots in my head. If I just act like an uncaring person, people will stop being with me. People stop will being my friends. So I just pretend to be a caring person,
And
so
you,
I don't just lose everybody.
even though you have the reduced capacity for all these emotions, you still want people around you. You still want friends. You still want that connection.
Yes, because I'm recognizing that this is useful. That is more useful to have friends rather than no friends.
In what way?
For example, their connections can get you some places. I had a friend who okay, I realize now in my head that this is kind of a bad example, but I had a friend who had his connection introduced me to drugs,
Okay.
for example. Just to say, I'm not addicted to anything. I've tried LSD 3 times, and that's basically it.
What was that like?
I really liked it, honestly.
Does
But I don't really feel the need to do more. So
now when you take drugs, does because like is LSD the only drug you've taken?
yes.
Okay, because for an example, like certain like MDMA or Mandy or
Hmm.
ecstasy, they can trigger um, certain emotions. So I wondered if something like
Hmm.
that, like LSD, did that trigger anything for you in that sense?
Um, at first I thought so, but as it went along, I just seemed like any normal person on a trip. So it didn't really do anything outstanding to me that it wouldn't to another person.
The common stereotype for psychopaths is they engage in violent or deviant behavior. Is that true for yourself?
I'd really like to say no to this question, but I would be kind of lying. Um,
Let's get
it
into
is
that.
true. It is kind of true for me, although I don't really like to do it. It is kind of true. I'm overly. I got an overly dirty tongue when I talk. Now, of course, I'm not exercising it because I'm not dumb. I don't want to make myself look like a complete idiot.
No.
But I am. I have done some crimes. I have, for example, a street plaque in my room that is like right next to me.
A what? Sorry.
A street plaque that I stole
Okay.
for some reason. I
Just
can't even recall why, because I just did it because, I guess.
what other crimes have you committed or deviant
Um,
acts?
mm, I've forged some letters, but like this was for school absences. Like, doesn't everyone? I feel like this is one of the most common crimes ever, and I stole some things, but it was always like that one chocolate bar or something that I
Yeah.
just wanted
And
because of reasons.
you've never committed a violent act other than the stick to the head, I suppose.
I can recall one violent act, but I don't really want to talk about that one
Okay.
because it's kind of hard to make me look like a normal human being or make me look like a semi normal human being after I told you that. So
There's no judgments on this page.
yeah, it just makes me really nervous whenever I talk about it because I always get reminded that I'm for some reason still alive because it has kind of betrayed my trust in people, this action.
Okay.
Like, not the trust in myself, but the trust in other people, to the point where I'm wondering why I'm still alive today, like every day.
So was this some sort of revenge act?
Yes, you could say so. It had to do with the death of my mother because I was really livid for a long time after she passed because of the behavior of my father and the behavior of my brother on the day she passed. Um, and that one thing led to another, and my anger kind of just boiled in that moment, and I became an even worse person for like a solid 5 minutes.
It's okay. We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. About the rest.
Mm.
What do you think are the main misconceptions that people have about psychopaths are?
The main misconception I've heard is, oh wow, you don't have feelings for others. What an asshole. It's not that we don't want to have feelings about others. It's just we literally can't. It's like it's literally not possible. It's not even psychological thing. It's a physical thing as well because the brain structure is literally altered.
Do you view this as a disability or just a different way of being?
As a what? Excuse me?
Do you view psychopathy as a disability or just a different way of being?
I kind of view it as a disability because that's what it is, but I mean, it's not like I can change that. So for me, it's sort of just like my normality, my normal me.
Yeah. And what do you think are the main upsides and downsides? Do you think there's any positives to this?
A positive would be that it's kind of like a double-edged sword because a lot of the positivities are also negativities if you think about them. A positivity for me is I generally don't care about like anyone judging me. I don't really care. Um, but it's also a negativity because I am not able to know when I am looking good or when I'm looking bad.
Yeah. Are you open with people about your condition or do you tend to keep it to yourself?
I am keeping it to myself currently.
So, have you sought any form of counseling or therapy for your condition? And if so, was it helpful? I know you mentioned that you did a little bit when you were younger.
Yes, I did a little bit when I was younger, but yet I didn't. After I got the diagnosis, I didn't really search for help because I was under the impression, why treat something that is not treatable? It's kind of like I'm screwed. The mindset of like I'm screwed anyway. So what does it matter?
What advice would you give to others who are living with psychopathy? Sorry.
I honestly don't know, because I mean I've discovered it pretty recently. I guess don't turn to crime because it's not a solution, or seek less violent ways of thrills.
What did you hope
But
to?
I think it's really bad advice. So
It's advice still. What did you hope to gain from this experience?
I honestly don't really know how to answer that question.
That's fair. That's 100% fair. And finally, what do you think the future holds in store for you?
I got my fingers crossed.
That's it. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. King Reardon. All my links are down below, and you can also get this t-shirt on the website. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and if you're going to comment, just before you do, just take a second, just think about what you're going to say. Promise it goes a long way. Thank you so much.